Hey guys, Magnus Robert here. So, I got something. Amazon came. It's the Clementine, book one by Tilly Walden. So, I'm going to be reviewing it today. It is fairly big, but I'm going to try and review it all. I've got my Clementine figure here to assist me, as well as my Lee Everett figure to assist me. And I've also got my AJ figure to assist me. So, we're going to be reading this book. Now, if you watched my video on the Clementine Lives comic, which they had in the Skybound X, I wasn't too happy with it. It was rather out of nowhere, and it felt very out of character for what happened with Clementine. So I'm going to be reading this book, and we'll see if for any reason maybe I was wrong, and this is going to be a really good continuation of Clementine's story. So yeah, this is before I've started reading it, this is my little pre-thing. I might do one halfway. After reading it halfway, I'll maybe come back to you and show you a few things, but let's get into it. Okay, I've barely even started, but what the hell is this map? How is this map meant to help? It's so far out. It shows the states. How's this meant to help her? What? So I think I've skipped through 2 chapters here. There's an avalanche. It was very unclear. My biggest complaint with this is the artwork is so dark and drab. I can barely tell what's happening in the panels sometimes. I figured out it was an avalanche eventually when I got to the big splash screen, like it was obvious then. But yeah, before that it was very unclear. So far, I have enjoyed Amos, or Amos, I don't know how to say it, but he's a pretty cool character. I like him. The others are weird. It does feel like a retreading of season 4 though of the game, because it's just her meeting children again, like other kids, and I question how likely that is, like how likely will there just be kids surviving on their own? So yeah, I'm not, bit odd. It does feel like treading old ground. It just like happened again. Like it's so dark. I can't see what's happening in these panels. I'm not a big fan of the artwork. Like The Walking Dead's black and white, but they're able to balance the contrast. Yeah. I'm about halfway, I'd say, or just under halfway, so not too long to go. So far, it's been better than I expected, to be honest, but it does feel very rushed. The whole thing feels very rushed, so I'm going to start chapter 5. So, I have read this much. I've got this much to go. Yeah, it's weird. I kind of like it. I do kind of like it. It's getting better. I have to admit, there are parts I do enjoy. I just think the way that they've kind of projected Clementine into this story, the way that they've done it is by, obviously in the Clementine Lives comic, they did it by essentially forcing this reason. It like she feels depressed. She's watching all these communities die, and she doesn't want to have to witness her loved ones die again, so she wants to be on her own. And I can somewhat believe that, but there's no tendencies towards that in the game, and so that's why I feel a little iffy with that reasoning. It does feel very contrived, and I think the contrived way that they've got Clementine out into this world is definitely, I think, a negative to this book. But I think the actual story itself, devoid of that, is not so bad. I mean, it's nothing amazing. I don't think it's like revolutionary or anything really, really fun and exciting and new, but it certainly is interesting, I'll give it that. And I do think, yeah, there's enjoyable parts. I really like Amos, how you say it. He's a really fun character. I'll give the author that. She's definitely nailed that character. And I really enjoy these flashbacks panels that they do. These are really awesome with Lee, and we've got mentions to Kenny. Obviously, Clementine names her leg Kenny, which is very nice. So, Yeah, I've been actually enjoying it, surprisingly. So I'm on to chapter 8, only a little bit to go. Let's move on. So, it's been finished. I've read the entire thing. Now, Amos or Amos, I think is dead. He gets pushed down like a ravine or like a sort of like a canyon, I guess. So I think he's dead. But I'm not sure. They didn't like confirm it. So yeah, I hope he comes back in book 2. So the book ends. Obviously, the sister dies. The twin sister, not Olivia, the other one. I forget the other one's name. Let me just check. It'll be here somewhere. Georgia? Yeah, Georgia. I had to think then how you say that. Georgia and Olivia. So Georgia gets killed, and Olivia is obviously she's kind of abusing her twin sister, or she needs there's some sort of something happening there, and Rika obviously figures it out. So pretty much only a couple characters. There's a guy called Tim as well who you meet who gets bitten and dies pretty quickly. And then there's some people at the start as well, some other characters at the start that we meet, and of course Lee appears throughout as well. Book ends pretty much with them taking the plane, which is what Amos was his kind of main goal was to fly on the plane, and it pretty much ends just like that. They fly away. And I do really like this panel. This is a really nice panel, but yeah, overall, I think it's like I said. I do think it's fine. I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever read. There's issues with the way that they got Clementine here, and I think that's honestly one of my biggest issues with this graphic novel. As well, I'm not too keen on some of the paneling. Some of it's very dark and very difficult to see. Some of the artwork is just a bit too dark. And I think she's kind of utilized black more than white, whereas like some of these look really nice. Like this one, for example, this looks really nice. You can kind of see what's going on. You can understand what's going on in there. You can see the ski lifts there. You can see the characters, because there's a bit of grey used. There's grey, black, and white. But then with others, it's just I can't see what the hell's going on. And I know that some of these are taking place at night, so I can understand. But like this is a good example. Like I can barely see what's going on here. And that's honestly my biggest issue with this. This is just some of the paneling is just a bit off. Some people complain about the text. I'm cool with the text, the kind of big block text. I think it's fine. I prefer it when it's a bit more, like normal Walking Dead sort of thing. But honestly, the text isn't an issue to me. I think it's quite nice actually to have big bold text. You don't miss anything that way anyway. And to be sometimes in the Walking Dead, the comic book, there's like these big long monologues in some of the issues. I might be able to find one, but you can see like sometimes there's these like big long monologues in some of the Walking Dead issues, and they do get very tedious to read. And I find that often with graphic novels, like it's much better just to have like quick dialogue that's to the point. I don't know if there's any in here, but like yeah, like sometimes like in this one for example, it's just like really really long text and it covers the entire screen, and sometimes it's not needed. Like for example in here it says, okay, this isn't the best time, but there's nothing we can do about it for now, blah blah blah. It's very like, it feels like this one for example, it could have just been summed up as there's no time, the baby's coming now. This is the issue where Laurie gives birth to little Judith. I think Dale gets bitten as well. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the Clementine book, like I said, I think it's okay. I don't hate it. I think there's some good stuff in there. There's good characters in there. I'm not too keen on Rika. I think she's a bit of a quirky quirkster for the quirky quirkster's sake. But yeah, didn't hate it as much as I thought I would, for sure. I think there is some good stuff in there. The pace of the story does feel very rushed at times. It does feel like the whole story is at 100 miles per hour. Like we've got to just get through stuff all together, as much as we can. It's obviously 200 odd pages. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. It's alright. When's book 2 coming out? Let's have a look. I don't know if it says on this. I don't think it does say. When book 2 is coming out. Book 2. Oh yes, it does. Coming June 2023. So we've got to wait a year to get book 3. Book 2, sorry. And then obviously there's going to be a third book as well. I was really hoping that they were seeing as they were going up north. I was really hoping we'd see Krista, because that could have been like a really cool thing to tie in the comic to the video games. Because at the moment, apart from Clementine and Lee making some sparring appearances, cameos, dreamlike, whatever you want to call it. It does feel very disconnected from the story of the video game. But yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts. If I was to give it something out of 10, I think I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10 maybe. Probably the highest score I would probably give it if I was to give it anything out of 10. But yeah, anyway, tell me your thoughts. See you in the next one. Goodbye.